into the Hawks and the Heat. How about the Hawks and the Heat? I mean, Trae Young. I mean, man, I can't. There's an APB out for it. Well, like, where you at, buddy? Where you at? No, like, he hasn't been able to make anything. It's been kind of ridiculous. And like, we're used to calling him Trey, you know. He's normally balling it out, you know. And he's just not really doing anything this series so far. And the Heat are looking good. Like, they're looking good. Like, I can't take anything away from them, you know. Like, they're looking pretty good. The defense has been there. Like, that's kind of been the question with the Heat so far is, like, we were expecting them to be this really, really good defensive team. And then it just wasn't consistent throughout the regular season. Their defense just wasn't consistent. And their play just overall in general wasn't consistent, especially the latter part, the last few games. Not last few games, but there's like a little moment right there where Butler and Spoelstra got into it. And then we were kind of wondering if things were unraveling. And now you look at them, and they're the 1 seed, and they're playing like the 1 seed, you know. But, I mean, Griffin, starting off with you, like, what are your thoughts so far on good old Trey and that series?
I mean, I've not been able to keep up with this series as much. Looking at the numbers, it's hard to say that, you know, where's Trae Young been at when he scored 25 in Game 2. But I do get your point. In Game 1, he had 8 points, which being Trae Young, who's the I think he scored the most points in the league this season. That's pretty unacceptable in a playoff game. In terms of just matchups, just on paper, I don't really see how this is even going to be close in terms of the Hawks coming back at all. I think the Heat have this in the bag. I just don't think there's enough star power on the Hawks to really do anything. But, yeah, I mean, Trae Young's going to have to be more consistent. And he only played 28 minutes in the first game, so I don't know if that was
because they were getting beat so bad.
He was sucking so bad that they just pulled him. But when you're the guy on a team and you score 8 points in a game in the playoffs, I mean, there's really not much more to say.
Well, he went like with that. I think it was terrible. Look at, do you have it pulled up right in front of you? Look and see what his stats were from 3 on the second game.
Game 2. He didn't make one. He was 1 of 12 from the field in the first game and 0 for 7 from 3, and made 6 of his 8 points were free throws in Game 1,
and he was 2 for 10. Game 2 from 3.
Yeah, like, so he's just not. He's throwing up a lot of shots, and when you're an offense that's dependent on that, and you're not making anything, at 25 looks good, but at the same time, it was an inefficient 25. Kind of like with what we're talking about with KD, it just hasn't been efficient. But anyways, anything else you want to add, Griffin?
Sorry, I like Bogdanovich. I've always liked watching him, but if he's your leading scorer, you're not going to win a playoff series.
Yeah, no, I
pretty
agree.
much. That's the end of the day.
What you thinking, Henry?
I think this is just like the Celtics series for me. It's like, Trae Young, you're a great player. You know, if you're gonna stand up last playoff season and bow down in Madison, you can't come and like take a shit in the Heat arena. Okay, like I'm all about, like, you know, when you're the guy, you know, for a team, when they expect you to be the one who scores the play, when like defense, like Trae Young is like, they expect, like, oh, yo, Trae Young, if you don't score 30 points, we don't have a chance of winning this game. Yeah. And it's like, and it also hurts that King Capella's not there because he's hurt. Yeah. So I'm going to give him that. But, like, Jimmy Butler has been playing out of his mind in this first 2 games.
45?
In this first 2
43?
games. Yeah. It's been insane. And I'm like, because, like, Jimmy Butler is like the defense guy who gives you, like, nice 20, you know. But, like, he's been like, since he said, I'm here to win this thing. And I don't think it's been strong to see, like, that switch in their mindset. Because, like, no offense to the Heat, but, like, when they put up, when the season ended and they were the ones, I was like, I'm very surprised they kept that. Because they started, like, looking very, very iffy, like Brandon was saying. And, like, you feel like this is a 1 seed that the Hawks do want to play if they want to play anybody. Because, like, the Heat did not, defensively, they haven't been anything special. And then offensively, you just, like, feel like there's not really anybody that can, like, you know, drop a 50-piece on you. And now Jimmy's like, nah, that's me. I'm that guy. And it's just like, I think, I haven't watched this series. To be honest, I don't think I'm going to watch this series because I feel like it's probably going to end Atlanta. But, like, it's been fun to see, like, the Heat, like, I guess, flip that switch of, like, it's playoff time.
Playoff mode.
Yeah,
playoff
but also, I don't know if that's just because the Hawks are very bad
Yeah.
or just because the Heat are that good.
See, here's the thing about the Hawks, and I will say this for the Hawks perspective, like, they'll have games, and I guess a lot of it's dependent on Trae Young. They'll have games where they'll just look like the worst team. And then they'll have games where they're high flying, dunking, looking like they're having the most grand time out there. So it's like home. They're going to have the crowd behind them. Trae Young's going to feed off the energy. Trae Young has played well in the playoffs in the past. And Ben, I want to throw this at you while answering the first question. I don't see any reason why they couldn't win a game or two, just to be honest. If Trae Young plays well and since they're playing at home. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Ben? Do you think that they can win a game? Do you think that just what are your thoughts on the series so far?
I think they can win one in Atlanta. I don't know if they'll win two. I think that might be a stretch. But what surprised me is the Hawks. Granted, they were out without John Collins first game, and then they were without Clint Capella the second game. So that messes up their chemistry. Those are two guys that have to be on the floor with Trae Young.
Yeah.
So each game he's missed one, and those are also two bigger guys that play more defense for Trae and help with him lobbing it up to one of the two. He's just like all the Collins dunks you were talking about, where we're used to seeing them dunk, having fun with it. But what's a huge takeaway for me is the Hawks have shot absolutely horrendous both games. And the Hawks, when they win, what are they known for? Shooting. This is a shooting team. Game 1, Bogey went 0 for 8. Game 2, he's your leading scorer. That's inconsistent. Gallinari had 17 or 18 game 1. He went 0 for 6 game 2. Those are shooters. Those are guys who need the ball. This is another reason Trae gets so many assists. He's good at getting the double, blowing by someone, kick it out. He's got all these shooters. Hoyter, Bogey, Gallinari. Collins can stroke. Hunter can sometimes shoot. These are guys who are going to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
And they have just not hit. Granted, the Heat aren't playing terrible defense either.
Yeah.
Not to discredit them. But they're shooters. And when your shooters aren't shooting well, and then you're missing one of your two pivotal big men, you're in trouble. And so far, the Heat have taken it away. And what's also surprised me is Bam Adebayo has not had an incredible series whatsoever. I don't think he's had I think last game where he had 9 points is his high so far in the series. I don't think he had over 9 in game 1.
He hadn't had to.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't had to, which is kind of crazy. Like you were saying, Butler has taken over completely. For whatever reason, they cannot guard him either game. He shot very well both games, over 50%, and he was the leading scorer in game 2. I think game 1 is the one where Duncan Robinson just could not miss from 3. That was ridiculous.
He went 8 for 9, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that. It was
7 for 8, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was stroking. Very interesting, but that's what him and Hero do. And instead, Hero didn't hit game 1. Duncan did. Game 2, Duncan didn't attempt a shot, but Hero went off for I think it was 15. So,
yeah.
I think I'll push it to what Brady said about the first series that we talked about, which is Celtics Nets. Is this Heat team is built to touch you. They have these dudes who just play defense. They're ready to hit
gritty,
you.
Gritty.
When you run across the court, they're gonna. I guess we can. This is Trae Young's second year in the playoffs, so we can give him that. But I feel like he played the Bucks last year, and the Bucks kind of play like that the same way too. They just touch you up.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this team is probably gonna when they hit you, you feel it a lot more.
Yeah.
Cause this is a team that's a bunch of guys who like defense actually. It's just dudes who
PJ Tucker,
the dudes who want to play defense.
And that's why, and that was their goal. That was their goal when they got PJ Tucker, when they got some of these guys. And when you got Bam, you got PJ, you got Jimmy Butler, you got such grit. That's the goal.